Hi there guys, how are you today? And welcome to my review of the 2017 Austrian Grand Prix. So yes, 71 laps of the Austrian Grand Prix circuit, the Red Bull Ring, have been completed. And now let's get into this review. So firstly I'm going to go through the race results. And then we'll talk about each driver and the story of the race and my opinions of the various things. So, Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes won this race. He was followed closely home by Sebastian Vettel in a very tight finale to this Grand Prix. Daniel Ricciardo got another podium. He's had a lot of these recently and he got another one yet again. Lewis Hamilton came 4th, although he did have a gearbox penalty, meaning he started 8th in this race. Kimi Raikkonen came 5th, although he was slightly off the pace this weekend. Romain Grosjean did a fantastic job to come 6th in the Haas, while Perez and Ocon stayed out of each other's way and came 7th and 8th in this Grand Prix, while the two Williams cars also got into the point of Massa in 9th and Stroll getting the final point in P10. Palmer did better this weekend, being P11. It was a better day for Vandoorne in P12. Difficult day for Renault though, as we know, with Hulkenberg in 13th. Okay, Palmer was 11th, but still difficult day for Renault overall. Pascal, Wehrlein and Ericsson continued to struggle in the Sauber in P14 and 15, while Kvyat had a very difficult race in the Toro Rosso. As for people who retired from this race, you had Carlos Sainz towards the end of the race, or halfway through the race, Kevin Magnussen, Fernando Alonso and Max Verstappen. So now let's talk about the story of the weekend. So obviously the main part of this weekend was Hamilton's gearbox penalty. 5 places on the grid for gearbox change, an unscheduled gearbox change. Of course you can change your gearbox either after 6 races, or if it breaks during a race, and neither of those things happened but he still changed it, meaning got a 5 place penalty. I'm sure Mercedes had their reasons, and I guess it's better than it breaking during the race, but it didn't mean that he had to come back a lot during the race. But at the front of the grid, Bottas, who got a fantastic pole position, and yes, Bottas got pole position. It wasn't Hamilton this week. Hamilton only came 3rd in Q3 and then got demoted 5 places. So yeah, pretty impressive stuff there by Valtteri Bottas, getting pole position ahead of Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari. And Bottas got a lightning start. A graphic came up on the TV, the start within 0.2 of a second, and a lot of people thought he would jump start, but it turns out he didn't. And yeah, he essentially dominated most of the race. Then in the second stint on the super soft tyre, he struggled a bit with blisters, and that let Vettel catch up a bit. And he had a very exciting race with Vettel within a second on the final lap. A little bit like in Sochi in Russia, where it was very similar between the two drivers, with Vettel nearly catching up to Bottas on the final lap, and Vettel wishing there was an extra lap, maybe. But ultimately, we know how many laps there is. He knew when he had to overtake, and he didn't do it. And anyway, I don't want to go back to what happened in Azerbaijan, but a lot of people would say that Vettel shouldn't have been on the grid, and if he was on the grid, should have been a bit lower down. Anyway, 3rd place was Daniel Ricciardo in the Red Bull, the team's home race in Austria. Obviously, it's an Austrian company, and yeah, great performance by him. Of course, he benefited from his teammate retiring at the start of the race, and of course, Raikkonen struggling and Hamilton having his issues earlier in the weekend. But yeah, Ricciardo did well to come 3rd, yet another podium, being quite consistent. And on race pace, he was pretty good. He set one of the fastest laps of the race. He finished only 6 seconds behind Bottas. He kept Vettel honest throughout the race. He kept Hamilton behind him at the end of the race. So yeah, pretty impressive stuff by Ricciardo. Shame Verstappen's race was screwed over at the start, as I'll come on to. While Hamilton was in P4, he started in P8, had some good battles with the Force Indias, the Haas, and then he jumped Raikkonen in the pit stops and making an early pit stop, doing an undercut. But he also struggled on the ultra soft tyre. He started on the super soft tyre, but then went on to the ultra soft where I think he pushed too hard at the start, and that screwed him over towards the end of the stint. And as a result, he was only able to come 4th. And in the media, he doesn't seem very happy this Sunday evening. He doesn't seem very confident of his title chances, so he is still only 20 points behind. He lost 6 points to Vettel this weekend, so it's not a complete disaster. It would have been worse had he retired from the race with a gearbox failure, so it was worth doing the penalty, I guess. And yeah, he doesn't seem very confident, and he wasn't too happy with his driving. He did nearly go around the outside of Daniel Ricciardo on, I think, the second to last lap, but it simply wasn't to be. he didn't manage to get the job done. And it was pretty cool at the end of the race. Vettel was just behind Bottas, while Hamilton was just behind Ricciardo, and sort of the TV cameras didn't know where to look. I think I wanted them to look at Ricciardo versus Hamilton because I'm a Hamilton fan. But of course they were often going to look at Bottas versus Vettel because that's for the win in second place. So they had to look at it. And yeah, Hamilton had a strong drive but not quite strong enough. And we'll be hoping next week at his home race at Silverstone for some proper comeback. Raikkonen in P5. Again, he seems slightly off the pace this weekend, getting a bit worried about his future in the team. He needs, I think Ferrari want him to be able to challenge and get closer to, not challenge, but get closer to Sebastian Vettel to help Ferrari challenge more in the constructors. And because obviously today was a good day for Mercedes in terms of constructors, with Bottas beating Vettel and Hamilton beating Raikkonen. So yeah, it was a good day in terms of for Mercedes, and Ferrari will want more from Raikkonen in the next few races. And we'll have to see how that one plays out. But I don't know which driver would want to go to Ferrari knowing they'd be the number 2 driver. I don't see why they want to do it. They'd surely wait for a better opportunity where they have a chance to win and not have to play second fiddle to Sebastian Vettel. P6, and yes, this is a driver who could well end up at Ferrari soon. Romain Grosjean had a fantastic race in the Haas. In general, it was quite a strong weekend for the Haas F1 team. He did have 1 or 2 issues with the brakes, as always, but you come to expect that now. But he did well to come in P6. He qualified well, and his teammate Magnussen was on the pace as well, but he had a failure, I believe, and he had to retire. But yeah, Grosjean did pretty well this weekend. I think everyone would be pretty happy with him. Of course, it's basically the Ferrari B team, and I'm sure he's aiming for Raikkonen's seat. But I still question, why would you want to go to Ferrari next season if you're going to play second fiddle to Sebastian Vettel? I just don't get it. And maybe Grosjean's better off waiting up for a seat in a different top team, or hope that Haas somehow come good. 7th and 8th was Perez and Ocon. I thought Perez was slightly naughty when being lapped by Bottas and Vettel. The first time he was lapped by Bottas early on in the race, I thought he didn't get out of the way enough. And then against Vettel, he also seemed to let Bottas through at the end of the race, but not Vettel. He made an excuse saying he didn't realise Vettel was right there. But I don't know, maybe the Mercedes engine supply team was trying to help the Mercedes works team. I don't know, a bit of conspiracy theory there. Tell me in the comments if you agree. But yeah, overall it was a much better weekend for Force India than we had in the last couple of weeks. They didn't crash into each other this weekend, which has become quite positive. And yeah, Perez and Ocon did well to be 7th and 8th, and ultimately that was probably the best they could hope for, although they would have been fairly disappointed to have been beaten by the Haas team. But they'll be pleased to have beaten Williams and Toro Rosso, which is obviously going to help them in the constructors' fight for 4th place. 9th and 10th was Massa and Stroll. It was weird. Williams' team had big updates this weekend, but they really struggled in qualifying. It was generally unbelievable. They both went out in Q1, but in the race they had decent pace. Massa made a great start, and Stroll essentially followed them through, and they came home in 9th and 10th. Pretty impressive for Stroll to get yet another point, so he's becoming a little bit more consistent in Formula 1, which is ultimately what we wanted to see from him. And yeah, maybe he can be a star of the future, but I don't know if that's a little bit optimistic, or I'm saying that too soon. Tell me where you think his future lies in F1. I hope he does get a second season to continue proving himself, and in the last few races he has been one of the real stars, in my opinion. P11 was Jolyon Palmer's slightly stronger weekend for him, but then again only P11. He had issues when Raikkonen was trying to lap him. He didn't get out the way quick enough, according to Raikkonen, as you'd expect, and the same happened with Vandoorne as well. And at least Palmer managed to actually beat his teammates in the race. You don't say that often. Palmer actually beat Hulkenberg in this year's Austrian Grand Prix. So yeah, that's pretty impressive stuff. And he'll be hoping at his home race in Silverstone next week, where my preview for that will be out tomorrow, hopefully. he'll be hoping to do a bit better and get in the points, which would be impressive, but I don't know if that's going to happen. P12, as I said, was Stoffel Vandoorne. Much better weekend for McLaren. Okay, Alonso was unlucky at the start, and I'm going to get to the start at that part of the field soon. But Vandoorne did well. He qualified in the middle of Q2, and yeah, he finished the race. He had reasonable pace, and it looks like the Honda upgrade has improved the car significantly, and maybe soon they'll be challenging for the points. And this is what we want to see from McLaren, some good progress. We know they're not going to suddenly be winning this year, we know that, but it's good to see some constant progress, and hopefully by next year there'll be a stronger force in F1. P13, as I've sort of already alluded to, was Nico Hulkenberg. Poor weekend for him, being beaten by his teammate, but in general this was always going to be a difficult track for Renault, very power heavy circuit, not Renault's strong point. And yeah, I think I predicted him to struggle this weekend, along with McLaren and the Sauber team. P14 and 15 were Wehrlein and Ericsson. We know Wehrlein is pretty good round here because he scored points here last year in the manor, but we know what that car could do in a straight line, so it's pretty different now. And yeah, well, they finished the race, and sadly for Sauber, they couldn't really ask for any more from the drivers, to be honest. And then P16 final finisher was Kvyat, and now this is a good chance to start talking about the start of the race. So essentially at the start of the race, Max Verstappen in the Red Bull had yet another mechanical failure. He had a clutch failure, and that left more cars in the mid-pack going into turn 1, because Verstappen slipped down quite a bit at the start of the race, and essentially Kvyat dived up the inside, massive dive bomb essentially, and he sort of hit Alonso, who went spinning into Verstappen, and then essentially they ended up both out of the race. Pretty sad stuff for Verstappen. You can see all of the Dutch fans who made a very short trip to Austria for this Grand Prix to support him, and he was out on lap 1. Pretty sad. And yeah, that was totally Kvyat's fault. He got a penalty for it, I believe. And yeah, it was sad that so many of the top guys went out at that point. And Alonso had a lot of damage to his rear, so he also retired pretty quickly. And maybe Alonso could have got into the points this weekend. You never know. But that didn't happen. And yeah, Alonso and Verstappen, two of the best drivers in F1, were taken out by Kvyat, who obviously won't want to be taking out any more Red Bull drivers if he's going to keep his seat in the Red Bull B team. So yeah, and then of course last other two drivers to be retiring, Kevin Magnussen. He was pretty strong this weekend. He was at least equal in pace with his teammate, and if not sometimes beating him. And yeah, pretty strong by him. While Carlos Sainz, he had a failure on lap 44, and he was running okay. I don't know if he would have got any points or not. And yeah, he has to, as I've said before, he has to continue to prove himself if he's going to get a better seat next season. So yes guys, that's the end of my review. So tell me in the comments who you thought the driver of the day was. And I don't know, what do you think? Do you think Hamilton is right to think that he hasn't got a chance in the championship? I don't think so. I think he can still easily win this championship. But yeah, tell me in the comments. And I'll see you guys soon for my preview of the 2017 British Grand Prix. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you really enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this and other types of videos, please subscribe to my channel. If you have anything to say in the comments, please leave a comment in the comment section down below. Also, go and check out the video that should be on screen right now, and come and follow me on Twitter, BigGaming342, and Facebook, BigGaming342, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Goodbye.